In 1996, two experienced divers entered Florida's mysterious Paradise Springs, but only one came back alive. As they plunged deeper into the cave's dark embrace, swirling silt brought visibility to 0 in seconds. One wrong move, and the cave swallowed them whole. What really happened in those terrifying moments? Why did Mark's body surface with blood on his lips? And what chilling warning now lurks at 99 feet? This is the true story of a dive that became a nightmare, and the lesson that every adventurer must learn. Stay tuned, everybody. The truth is darker than you think. Though we're not going to show you the worst moments, this story will stay with you long after the video ends. Viewer discretion advised. Florida's prehistoric underwater cavern. Located among the rolling hills and shaded by towering oak trees near Ocala, Florida, Paradise Springs is a hidden gem for scuba divers. From I-75, take Highway 40 east for 3 miles to Pine Avenue. Turn right and follow the road for about 8 miles until it splits. After the road merges again, take a U-turn to head north. Look for a mailbox with a dive flag marking a dirt road. Follow it for a half mile, crossing railroad tracks to reach Paradise Springs. This privately owned dive site isn't your typical spring. It's a karst window, a collapsed opening that reveals an ancient underground stream. The moment you step onto the property, you are greeted by a peaceful setting with picnic tables, a gazebo, and even a spring water shower. Unlike many diving spots, there's no rushing river or large pool. Just a serene, crystal-clear window into an underwater world frozen in time. The adventure begins at a small dock surrounded by tropical plants, where divers enter the water via wooden steps. A permanent descent line leads down to a submerged platform at 15 feet, helping divers control their buoyancy and also avoid stirring up the fine silt that blankets the bottom. Good buoyancy is key here. Once disturbed, the silt takes time to settle, and visibility can drop quickly. As you descend, the massive cavern room opens up before you, its walls lined with prehistoric limestone that once lay beneath an ancient sea. Embedded in the rock are fossils of sand dollars, sea biscuits, and other marine creatures that lived millions of years ago. Every turn reveals another glimpse into Earth's distant past, making this dive feel like a journey through time. For those who want to go deeper, a permanent guideline at around 20 feet leads down to a large shaft to a small room at 99 feet. Here, natural light fades, and divers encounter the famous Grim Reaper warning sign, marking the limit for recreational divers. Beyond this point lies a narrow passage descending to 140 feet, accessible only to fully cave-certified divers with the proper training and equipment. Paradise Springs is a fragile ecosystem, and visitors are asked to tread lightly. The limestone walls and fossils are delicate. Even a careless touch can cause permanent damage. Divers must maintain excellent buoyancy, avoid kicking up silt, and never take fossils or disturb the wildlife. With its 72-degree water, year-round visibility, and stunning geological formations, Paradise Springs is a must-visit for divers seeking adventure and a connection to Florida's ancient underwater history. Whether you're exploring the fossil-lined cavern or simply enjoying the tranquil surroundings above water, this unique site offers an unforgettable experience. Cave diving is one of the most thrilling and dangerous adventures that a diver can undertake. The darkness, the silence, the weight of ancient rock pressing in from all sides. It's a world that few ever see. But for those who dare, the pull is irresistible. The day begins. The morning of September 22, 1996 started with bright sunshine and sticky air over the gentle hills of Marion County, Florida. The air felt heavy and smelled of wet ground and pine trees. The last little bits of rain from the night before were still on the oak trees around Paradise Springs. For Mark Henderson, and Lisa Carter, this day was more important than just another day for diving. It was the day that they planned to go further than they had ever gone before and explore the secret deep parts of one of the most beautiful underwater caves in Florida. Mark, a 32-year-old seasoned open water diver, moved with quiet confidence as he loaded their gear into the truck. His hands checked each piece of equipment with practiced ease: the twin tanks, the regulators, the dive lights, and the weight belts. He had dived Paradise Springs before, but only in the shallower sections, where sunlight still reached the fossil-covered walls. Today, he wanted to go deeper, to see the parts of the cave that few had ever explored. Lisa was just as good at diving as Mark, but she felt a little bit worried as she watched him getting ready. She had always been more careful than him, and liked to follow dive plans that they already knew well. But Mark was so excited about this dive that it was hard not to feel excited too. The way that he described the cave, its winding paths and the old limestone walls that had fossils from long before humans existed, made her want to see it as much as he did. Around 10 a.m., they arrived at the quiet place where the spring was. The water was calm and peaceful. It was a round pool at about 30 feet wide, and the dark blue color in the middle got darker until it looked black. Tall oak trees made shadows that moved across the water. The air felt warm at about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but they knew that the water would always be 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It would feel a little cold without special diving clothes, but not too cold to handle. They suited up beside the small wooden dock, the only man-made structure at the site. Mark adjusted his buoyancy compensator, checked his pressure gauge, 3,000 psi, plenty for the dive. Lisa tightened her harness, her movements quick and nervous. "No guideline?" she asked as Mark clipped his dive light to his wrist. "We don't need one," he said. "We'll follow the permanent line down to the platform and then just keep going. I've studied the layout. It's a straight shot." Lisa hesitated, but nodded. If Mark wasn't worried, she shouldn't be either. As they slipped under the water, it felt cool and smooth like silk. Sunlight shone down through the first 20 feet, making the limestone walls glow with a beautiful blue light. Small groups of tiny fish quickly swam away from the bubbles they made. When they were 15 feet down, they reached a wooden platform that was underwater. This was a normal place for divers to stop to be safe. Mark looked at his depth tool and showed Lisa that everything was okay. She showed him the same sign back, but her eyes looked a little unsure behind her mask. They followed the permanent guideline, going down deeper as their light shone through the water that was getting darker. When they were 30 feet down, they could see what the cave was really like. The walls became narrow and the ceiling lowered. The rocks had strange formations, like organic shapes, because water had flowed over them for thousands of years. When Lisa was 50 feet down, her dive gauge made a beeping sound to warn her. She touched Mark's shoulder and pointed to the screen. It showed that they didn't have much air before they would need to come up slowly to be safe. He waved his hand to say that it was okay. They still had a lot of air in their tanks. The point of no return. As Mark and Lisa sank deeper into Paradise Springs, outside the narrow beams of their dive lights, the water was becoming pitch black, like swimming through ink. The pressure made their ears ache, even though they kept pinching their noses to equalize. Mark checked his depth gauge, watching the numbers climb. 100 feet, 110, 120. The cave walls seemed to close in around them. Lisa looked at her air gauge. Still plenty left, but her heart pounded anyway. Then, everything went wrong in an instant. At 148 feet, Mark's fin accidentally touched the silty bottom. The effect was immediate and terrifying. A huge cloud of silt exploded upward like an underwater bomb had gone off. In seconds, the crystal clear water turned into a swirling brown soup with no visibility. All at once, Lisa couldn't even see her own hands right in front of her face mask. She reached out completely blind, trying to find Mark, but her fingers only felt thick, swirling mud. Somewhere in the murky water, she could see flashes of Mark's dive light moving around quickly, but she couldn't tell if he was coming closer to her or going further away. The guideline that they had been following had completely disappeared in the silt. Lisa moved slowly in the dark water, completely disoriented. Which way was up? Where was the exit? The heavy silence of the deep cave pressed in around her, broken only by the sound of her own panicked breathing. Mark was somewhere in that darkness too, possibly just a few feet away, but completely invisible. The cave that had seemed so exciting minutes ago had suddenly become a dangerous maze with no visible exit. Mark's heart beat very fast. He turned around slowly, and his light shone off all the tiny bits floating in the water, making it look like a flashing light, which made him feel confused. What he had learned told him to stop and think, but his basic fear took over. He saw a darker spot in murky water. Could it be a way out? He moved towards it, squeezing his body between two rock shapes. The space was narrow. Suddenly, his air tank got stuck in the rocks. He twisted his body and pulled hard on the straps holding his tank. The metal clip broke. Now that he wasn't stuck anymore, but also off balance, Mark's body started to go up too fast. He tried to grab the rock wall, but his gloves slipped on the slimy green stuff that was growing on it. His chest felt like it was burning. He had been holding his breath without even knowing it. When he was 60 feet down, the pain started. It felt like a hot knife stabbing through his chest as the air in his lungs expanded and tore the small air sacs. He could only see straight ahead, like looking through a tunnel. Somewhere above him, Lisa reached the surface of the water and started shouting for help. But it wouldn't come fast enough. The recovery. 90 long minutes passed before the first rescue diver finally reached Paradise Springs. The silt settled down and water had begun to clear slightly, but the cave still kept its dark secrets hidden. The rescue team moved carefully, their powerful lights cutting through the dim water as they followed the permanent guideline downward. When they were about 140 feet down, they saw something shiny made of metal that caught their eye. It was stuck between two sharp, uneven rocks. It was Mark's empty diving straps, still fastened together but ripped off his body. The straps were hanging loosely in the moving water, and the air gauge showed that there was still a lot of air. The rescuers looked at each other with serious and worried faces behind their masks. Finding empty diving straps in a cave underwater always meant that something bad had happened. As the rescue team moved up while searching, their lights suddenly shone on a dark shape that was 44 feet below the surface. As they got closer, the shadow slowly became clear. It was a human body floating lifeless in the water. Mark's body was hanging still in the blue darkness. His arms were stretched out in front of him as if he was still trying to reach the top of the water. His diving suit had moved up a little, showing pale skin that looked almost blue in their lights. Tiny bubbles that were slightly pink because of blood came out of his mouth, which was a little open and floated up towards the surface far above. The lead rescuer moved closer, his light revealing Mark's face frozen in a mask with terror. His eyes were wide open behind the fog mask, one hand still holding empty water where his regulator should have been. As the team carefully tied up the body so that they could bring it up, they saw the signs that every rescue diver knows. His face and body looked swollen. There was blood inside his mask, and his arms and legs were bent in a very unnatural way. These were all the signs of a diver who had become very scared, held his breath, and had gone up to the surface much too quickly. A tragic lesson from the depths. The autopsy revealed the sad truth about what had happened to Mark. When he panicked and shot up towards the surface too fast while holding his breath, the changing pressure caused deadly air bubbles to form in his blood, what divers call an air embolism. The rapid ascent also gave him the bends, but it was that moment of fear when he forgot to exhale that ended his life. Today, Paradise Springs still welcomes divers, but now there is a very important warning sign at 99 feet. A picture of a Grim Reaper holding a scythe. This scary image isn't there to frighten people away, but rather to remind them that caves don't care how brave or experienced you are. They demand careful respect and proper training. For divers who pay attention to the cave's quiet warnings, it offers amazing rewards. The chance to see fossils that have been hidden in the rock for millions of years. But for those who don't respect its dangers, like Mark, the cave becomes a deadly trap. When the accident first happened, news reports got the story wrong, saying that the cave had collapsed on Mark. Later, the truth came out. It wasn't the cave that failed, but the diver who wasn't properly prepared. And sadly, this happens too often. Many divers with regular open water training think that they can explore caves safely. But cave diving requires special equipment and skills that most recreational divers don't have. One of the most important rules is always using a guideline. May Mark rest in peace. If you enjoyed this deep dive into cave diving dangers, well then don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you never miss out on our next underwater adventure. Got a scary dive story of your own? Drop it in the comments down below. We would love to hear your experiences. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe and keep exploring.